You ever heard of that saying, when life gives you lemons, make apple juice and leave the world wondering how you did it? That's kind of what I'm going to be doing here today, where I'm going to just be telling you 5 mistakes I've made that caused me a lot of damage socially in my 20s that I did in my teens. Yeah, so with this mistake, it seems kind of obvious and a little bit self-explanatory, but I'm going to still tell you my side of it and why I did it and how it affected me socially, because not taking care of yourself, it's a big deal. Even though when you're a teenager, you believe, oh, I know everything. You can't tell me nothing. Yeah, those people that's trying to help you and make your life a lot easier, listen to them. So when it came to not taking care of myself, I'll start with hygiene, mainly personal hygiene. As I'm talking about hair, grooming, oral hygiene, embarrassing as it is, showering hygiene. This was over 10 years ago, so showering hygiene, all of that. It was a long road. But with haircuts, I really didn't care to go to the barbershop. I hated going to the barbershop because I really kind of feel like I have ADHD a little bit. So it's more of I hated sitting still in one spot for a long period of time, especially if you're more of a quiet guy or introverted dude and you're just like, I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, you in the barber chair and the barber's like, yeah, man, how your day going? How your week doing? How you doing in school? I'm like, why are you asking about my personal life? I don't even know you. Why? And you're just sitting there and it's like, I don't want to talk to you, you know? That, and then you have the person gripping your head hard, trying to line you up, and you're just like, oh no, I don't like this. I came to that conclusion at a very early age of being a teenager, around, I'd say 13, 14, give or take. Freshly new into being a teenager, right? So with that in mind, I wanted to become a rebel. I didn't want to get a haircut. And I did that because I felt, hey, if my brother's getting a haircut and my mom wants me to get a haircut, I'm not gonna do it because I do what I want to do. I'm a teenager, right? You know it all. You do what you want. Little did I know, when you don't get a haircut, your hairline starts to disappear. Your hair starts to get nappy. If you don't comb that joke out, wash your hair, it starts to get dry, starts to get dirty, starts to get sweaty. And now you this guy with nappy, dirty, sweaty, stinky hair, and you have no hairline. So off top, I'm ugly at this point. I'm just straight ugly. To me, I'm ugly at this point. But you know what? I said, I don't care. I would rather be ugly instead of going to the barbershop, getting that haircut. That was my mentality, my mindset back then, right? Okay, that's the first part of hygiene that I decided, hey, I don't care about. It's not important. Second part is shower hygiene. As a teenager, I cared, but not really. You know how you would really think that, oh, I only need to take a shower if I go sweat a lot or something. Little do you know, when you don't take a shower, you end up stanky. Then when you end up stanky, everybody else smells it. But you're like, you know what? Instead of being like, yep, I need to take care of that. Say, nah, I'm gonna put on a hoodie. I'm gonna put on more than one pair of underpants. I'm gonna just hide the smell instead of go and take care of it, which you could easily do in like 5 to 10 minutes and be done and be smelling fresh and good. Nah, not me. Nah, I was a rebel. So you know what? I got this. I don't need to do that. So now, so far, you got a dude that's dirty hair, stinky hair, no hairline, right? You're stinky, armpits cutting up, smelling like onions, right? Just funky at this point. Funky but hidden funky. Not like to the point to where once you just enter a room, everybody and their grandma can smell it. It wasn't that kind. It was more of a hidden funk that only I could really smell at this point as a teenager, okay? And then to add on top of that, you have your oral hygiene, which is brushing your teeth, flossing, and taking care of your lips, whether it be exfoliating or putting on Vaseline or something to help your lips stay moist, right? So with that, as I said earlier, I was a rebel. Didn't care. Being told, hey, you need to go and brush your teeth. You don't want to get cavities. You don't want your teeth to fall out. Back then, I was addicted to soda. I was addicted to candy. I was addicted to sugar heavily. I would drink a whole 12 pack of Dr. Pepper in like a day. And it got so bad to the point to where I believe the most I've ever drunk in a day was like 4 12 packs. Yeah. And at that point, it got so bad. I had 4 giant cavities in the top four of my teeth. Four front of my teeth. I'm gonna pull a picture up over here. That's what I looked at like. You might be asking, Ryan, why the heck were you smiling if you was ugly, have no hairline, dirty hair, stinky, funky, and all of it? Why are you smiling in this picture? Because at that point, I knew things would get better eventually, right? It did. But not before it got worse. By getting worse, I mean, after a while, after the rebel stage was like done, and I began to really think about myself and semi sort of work on myself, I got to the point where I was like, okay, what's going on? You know, looked up, looked around. Everybody else taking care of themselves. Look at me being this guy. And then once you really start to smell the, what's that saying? Smell the roses or sniff the rainbow, whatever. You know what the saying is. Whatever that saying is, that's what it was and what it became. And the way it began to affect me socially, and what made this a huge mistake that was in my teens that carried semi on into my early 20s with the oral part, as far as like not brushing my teeth. Like I said, I had all of these cavities in my teeth. It got so bad to the point to where I didn't even want to smile anymore. Like if you go to my Instagram or my Facebook, any picture back then, you would see no smiles. Every picture was taken like this. Straight face every time. No smile. Only kind of smile you would get, maybe be like, that's it. With no teeth, no. Because I knew I had cavities in my teeth. My teeth were yellow. You know why? Because I neglected it for a long time. I thought I knew it all. I said, you know what? If I ever get this fixed, I would never drink soda again. Mainly Dr. Pepper. And I still stick to that to this day. But the way that it really just like affected me socially was because, as I'm sure you can guess, I was stinky. I didn't want to smile. I didn't even want to be around people because I was ugly at this point. I didn't take care of myself at all. So it's like, you're already super self-conscious about talking to people. So I'm like, yeah, it wasn't, it was a mixture of being shy because I didn't really know how to talk to people. But at this point, you're ugly, stinky, no hairline, and you just cutting up. You wouldn't want to talk to nobody. And it's like, yeah, that would make you uncomfortable to even approach anybody, especially now you aware of all these problems that you caused. Not you, but me. All the problems that I caused for myself and not taking care of it. Because so much time had passed by, I kind of forgot how to take care of it. So it kind of lingered for a little bit until I really started to work on myself, focus on myself, and then go from there. But that's how that jacked me up socially in my teens. And I hope it's not jacking you up too. If so, we can work on that, buddy. We can work on it. Outside of not really taking care of myself physically with the grooming and hygiene and all of that, the next big mistake I made in my teens that affected me in my 20s was living virtually all the time. And by living virtually, I mean as in constantly playing video games. My schedule was go to school from, I started waking up. Schedule was wake up 6 o'clock, be at school by like 8 o'clock, school from 8 to 3, come home, play the game from 3:30 all the way till 11 p.m. every day for years. And when I got out of school, it was even worse because it was more like wake up at 6 a.m., game from 6:30 all the way to 3 o'clock the next morning. And I did that multiple times over multiple years. But what I didn't realize was constantly being on the game, it messes you up mentally. Not saying like, oh, playing games are bad. No, I'm saying being on that game all the time, it hurt me because it's like being in jail almost. Not in a way of punishment, but rather isolation. Because once you stop doing something for a long time, you forget how to do it. And in this case, it was socializing. Like, yeah, you can talk to people on the game, but talking to somebody online versus in real life are two completely different things. When you're talking to a person on the game, it's just voice. They're in your ear, you're talking to them like that. But when you're in person, you're seeing this person, you're using your body to talk to them. You're actually interacting with the person. It's a whole different feel. So me being a serial gamer that I really didn't care to talk to people, even my family. Like, my family knew the moment I wake up, I'm closing my door, I'm playing video games all day long. Like, Ryan, do you want to come do this? No, I'm playing Call of Duty right now. Hey Ryan, can you help me with this? No, I'm playing the game right now. And it just went on for years and years. And like I said, on the surface, it looked like, oh, I'm just playing video games all day, having fun, enjoying my life, right? But as time goes on, life goes on, you're not a teenager anymore. You begin to become an adult, or a young adult, and then you become an adult. I know it sounds weird saying it like that, but you get what I'm saying. So at this point, I'm a young man, and I'm like, I literally play video games that badly. And I didn't really believe I was addicted to it. It was just more like, I play games all day. Obviously I'm addicted, but it didn't really settle on me until later on, where I would be at my job and I would go home, and it got so bad to the point to where I would call out of work just to not go there and play video games. I was not making money to play video games. That's how addicted to those games I were. I was playing games like Call of Duty, GTA, and just running it back, playing it the entire time. And that messed me up even more, because now I'm broke, ugly, and I'm playing video games all day. So you can only imagine how that really would set me up to fail as an adult man going forward. You see what I'm saying? Because when it comes to video games, I want you to really think about this. It's like, yeah, you can get all of these accomplishments, trophies, challenges done in the video game, but if that game shut down or your system give out, all that progress in that game is gone. It's wiped clean. Never get it back. And now you just spent all of them years, all of them hours gaming for what? Nothing, almost, pretty much. It's gone. You have nothing to show for it. But if you were to take that same energy and put it into something that can help you, you would be well better off. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking about my past self. So I'm saying you, I'm talking about my past self. So if I were to have done that, things would have been better. But do I regret that, going through all of that? I don't, because if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have ended up becoming socially awkward and not knowing how to talk to people, not knowing how to just be around people in general, to be able to go through it. And now I'm able to help you get through it. See what I mean? So hey, my life sucked, so your life can get better. Well, one thing I will say, as far as playing video games, there's nothing wrong with playing video games. It's just more you need to control it. And as in you, I meant myself. Yeah, I needed to control it, but I didn't have the self-control or discipline to do it, because when I play video games, it was more like my mind just ran 100 miles an hour. I want to constantly just be the best at what I'm doing, and next thing you know, 1 hour turns to 2, 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 8. Now you know the whole day is gone. Do that over and over. The week is gone, the month is gone, the year is gone, then years are gone, and you look back, you're like, what did I really do with my time and with my life? That's the point I got to. And after I got to that point, things didn't really seem as fun playing video games, you know? Be like, this isn't really helping me. And from there, things started to get better, and I really didn't play games like that anymore. So with this one, it's a very, I would say, sensitive topic, but it's something that a lot of men struggle with nowadays. It's worse now than it was back then, like 10 plus years ago. You didn't have as much access to everything you have nowadays. But like most men, or teenagers rather, I was addicted to porn as well. And I tell you that because you might be a guy that's going through it too, and you may not be like, I don't know how to get out of this. Every time I do it, I feel shame, I feel guilt, which is your conscience, because you know it's wrong and you shouldn't be doing it. But for years and years, I did that too. Started at like early teenager, and That went on for a long time. Thank God it's done and out of my life now. But what this does, or what it did to me, was it ruins you mentally, because you get that dopamine hit from a computer or your phone, instead of actually going out talking to a girl and like actually just living a real life experience. You're getting your real life experience from videos. And when I say you, I'm talking about me, or actually us, because if you can relate, YouTube, but you get what I'm saying. But you're getting that experience from a video, similar to a person watching a bunch of movies about another race. They've never interacted with this race before, but they watch all of these movies and shows about how other races are, and now they automatically assume the other races are how they're portrayed in the movies and the shows that they're watching, even though they're nothing like that. It's just how the movies and shows portrayed that race to be. It's no different than that. So you get older and you're just constantly doing that over and doing it in secret, and you're just like, yeah, did it, got away with it, felt bad about it. I'm like, it's okay, I won't do it again. I'm not gonna do it again. What happens? You get by yourself, you're alone in your room. Saturday night, everybody else is out partying, just sitting there chilling. Hear a voice in your ear, go to that website. You know you want to go to that website. You give in. You might resist it for a little bit, then you give in. You're like, gave into it, did the deed, and now you feel ashamed. And the cycle repeats over and over and over and over for years, until you're able to get out of it and control it and go from there. But while going through this, it had me afraid to talk to girls, because remember, at this point, all of this is going on at the same time. I'm ugly, I'm stinky, I have no hairline, playing video games, addicted to video games, alongside with being addicted to porn at the same time. As you can see at this point, my life in my teenage years was hectic. It was hell at this point. Like, I'm really, it seems like I'm not going anywhere. I'm like going just steadily adding compound interest, the wrong type, just going downhill at this point. And like, what am I really doing with my life? But the way this affected me socially is because, like I said, you're really not able to talk to girls, because you begin to feel this weird sensation, not like as in arousal, but rather you think that it has to be the same way as what you watched on a video or whatever you're looking at. So with this in mind, I'm like, I stink, ugly, no hairline, addicted to video games, and now I'm isolated myself. Not only isolated myself because of the video games, but I had that desire to have a woman, or a girl, or a woman, whatever, same thing, have a woman, but I couldn't, because I isolated myself, so I can't really talk to people. I don't know how to talk to girls at this point. So at that point, the next best thing is with that. I'm like, hey, get it how you get it. Which I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right. It's wrong. It's terrible. I would, no, don't do it. If you are doing it, figure out what's causing you to do it and cut it off, because that is extremely harmful mentally, and it will affect your chances of actually having a meaningful connection with the woman in the future. And you don't want to take that into your relationship or your marriage or wherever you're at. But if this is something you want me to dive deeper on, or talk more about my personal experience with dealing with porn in the future and how I was really able to get past it and not have to deal with it after I found my girlfriend, who is now my wife, let me know in the comments, and I got you. So when it comes to being a coward, you might think of quite a few things. A coward could be a person that runs away in the face of danger, doesn't want to face their fears, doesn't want to face themselves, even though it's something they desperately should do. They decide not to do it. In that case, that was me. I did all of that. On top of blame other people for things that was going wrong in my life, because I didn't know how to fix it. So I figured the next best thing was to blame it. And thinking back as a teenager, at the time it made sense, but thinking back, that was kind of dumb, because to become a man, the first step you do to become a man is take responsibility for yourself and your actions. And at that time, I wasn't a man, I was a boy, because I was putting the blame of my life onto other people, which gave other people the power over my voice, or my life, not my voice, over my life. So being that kind of guy, something that really sucked too was that the fact that I was afraid to do pretty much anything that involved having people around. So if normally, let's say if I was decent at drawing, if I had to draw a picture in front of people, I wasn't doing it. I'm terrified, beyond terrified, because I wasn't confident in myself at all. It's on top of adding all of that other stuff I just threw in there. Now at this point, you're talking about a guy who's an ugly, self-isolated, socially awkward, gaming, porn-addicted weirdo who's afraid of doing anything because he's afraid of what people think of him. On top of that, he just isn't brave at all, which, like I said, that's everything I was. And the way that all of that affected me socially, mainly just the part about being a coward, was because it stopped me from doing things I really wanted to do because I just was afraid. Being bluntly honest, I was afraid. A teenager who was afraid. You might be thinking, oh, Ryan, it's okay to be afraid. No, it's not. It's okay. It's okay to have that fear, but it's not okay to live with it. As long as it's not affecting your everyday life, it's okay. Like say if you wanted to jump off if you have a fear of jumping off of a mountain, that's okay. If you don't jump off that mountain, it's not gonna affect your life. But if you have a fear of talking to people, you have a fear of interacting with people, a fear of just talking louder, speaking up in meetings, that could be something you need to work on, which was something I needed to work on. And after a while, I did. And along with that, this might be the kind of person you were too as a teenager. You might have been that background character who just couldn't really do nothing. Because for me, my longest memory that I remember from high school was I was so afraid to eat with my classmates in the lunch hall. I took my lunch. I went to the bathroom. I ate my lunch in the bathroom on the floor, man. That dirty floor. I ate my food on the floor, man. Thinking back, I said, bro, I was down bad. Like yeah, it was that kind of lifestyle, you know. That and along with being the background character in every social situation, man. Just sitting there laughing, not adding to the conversation. Just didn't know what to do, how to do it. So yeah, everything I've talked about, add all of that into it, compiled over years of doing that for us to end up here with me helping you. I would say by far the worst one on this list is this one, because if you get to the point to where you're content with being how you are, which isn't a bad thing, but if the person or the man that you are is somebody that you're ashamed of or would be embarrassed to be, you got some work to do. And that's what I had. I had a lot of work to do, but I knew that I had all of this work to do. But you know what? I didn't do it. I let it drag on for 10 plus years because I figured, hey, why should I do this work? I'm thinking, hey, this is life. Life is normal. This is normal. It's normal to be doing all of these things, you know? It's normal. It's not. It's the furthest thing from normal. I thought everything was jolly until it dawned on me one day that, hey, one day you're gonna have a child. And I said, huh, interesting. At that point, it's the first time I thought about this. At that point, I was like, oh, yeah, sure. Everybody has kids, you know? What's it gonna matter to me? But after a while, I ended up going into depression later on, I believe in 2017, somewhere around there. Went into deep depression, and a couple of months into it, I felt like, the same question came up. What would you pass on to your child if you had one, or your children if you had them? And from there, you and I both know what the answer to this question is. Nothing. Nothing at all. I could pass nothing on to them. And as stubborn as I was, well, I still am stubborn, but as stubborn as I was not happy with that answer. And from there, that's when things really truly began to change, because at this point, like I said, I'm ugly, socially awkward, gaming, porn addicted coward who's just okay with it. Like, yeah, do I want my son to be like that? Do I want my son to be a ugly, socially awkward, gaming, porn addicted coward? No, I don't. So, because your son or your child, they're gonna mimic what you do. So if they see you doing that, they're gonna turn out the exact same way as you. Along with the woman as well, the woman you want to be with in the future, even if you don't know them right now, the woman that you're gonna be with in the future. Do you think the type of woman that you are right now, I mean, the type of man that you are right now, do you think that they would want to be with that type of guy? So I had to keep that in mind too. My future children and my future wife, what type of man would I need to be in order to be the head of that woman? You know, would be a leader to that woman for her to have my children as well. Because the woman's not going to want to be, she's not going to want to have kids by you unless you want her kids to be like you. Let that sit in for a second. If you want to know more about the backstory of how I went from being that guy to who I am today, drop a comment, and if this video get, let's say, 50 likes, I'll drop the full backstory to that, and you can see the whole process that led up to being who I am as I am today. And if you can relate to any of the mistakes that I made, it's a good chance that you might be lonely as well. So if you're a guy that's lonely right now and you're trying to figure out how to get through that loneliness, check out this video over here. It'll help you get through loneliness the same way I did and how I was able to get out of it. But till then, see you in my next video. Y'all take it easy.